In Search of the Miraculous by P.D. Ouspensky, Chapter 5. And it starts out with a little list of what they call Figure 3. And it's a list, and I'll read you the list here. Absolute, all worlds, all suns, sun, all planets, earth, moon. And this is the ray of creation, as P.D. Ouspensky or Gurdjieff sees it. Okay, continuing now. The ray of creation seems at first glance to be a very elementary plan of the universe, but actually, as one studies it further, it becomes clear that with the help of this simple plan, it is possible to bring into accord and to make into a single whole a multitude of various conflicting philosophical as well as religious and scientific views of the world. The idea of the ray of creation belongs to ancient knowledge, and many of the naive geocentric systems of the universe known to us are actually either incompetent expositions of the idea of the ray of creation or distortions of this idea due to literal understanding. It must be observed that the idea of the ray of creation and its growth from the absolute contradicts some of the modern views, although not really scientific views. Take, for instance, the stage. Sun, earth, moon. According to the usual understanding, the moon is a cold, dead celestial body which was once like the earth, that is to say, it possessed internal heat, and at a still earlier period it was a molten mass like the sun. The earth, according to the usual views, was once like the sun and also gradually cooling down, and sooner or later will become a frozen mass like the moon. It is usually supposed that the sun is also cooling down and that it will become, in time, similar to the earth and later on to the moon. First of all, of course, it must be remarked that this view cannot be called scientific in the strict sense of the term, because in science, that is, in astronomy, or rather in astrophysics, there are many different and contradictory hypotheses and theories on the subject, none of which has any serious foundation. But this view is one of the most widely spread, and one which has become the view of the average man in modern times in regard to the world in which we live. The idea of the ray of creation and its growth from the absolute contradicts these general views of our day. According to this idea, the moon is still an unborn planet, one that is, so to speak, being born. It is becoming gradually warm, and in time, given a favorable development of the ray of creation, it will become like the earth and have a satellite of its own, a new moon. A new link will have been added to the ray of creation. The earth, too, is not getting colder. It is getting warmer, and it may, in time, become like the sun. We observe such a process, for instance, in the system of Jupiter, which is a sun for its satellites. Summing up all that has been said before about the ray of creation, from World 1 down to World 96, it must be added that the figures by which worlds are designated indicate the number of forces, or order of laws, which govern the worlds in question. In the absolute, there is only one force and only one law, the single and independent will of the absolute. In the next world, there are 3 forces or 3 laws. In the next, there are 6 orders of laws. In the following one, 12, and so on. In our world, that is, the earth, 48 orders of laws are operating, to which we are subject and by which our whole life is governed. If we lived on the moon, we should be subject to 96 orders of laws. That is, our life and our activity would still be more mechanical, and we should not have the possibilities of escape from mechanicalness that we now have. As has been said already, the will of the Absolute is only manifested in the immediate world created by it within itself, that is, in World 3. The immediate will of the Absolute does not reach world 6 and is manifested in it only in the form of mechanical laws. Further on in worlds 12, 24, 48, and 96, the will of the Absolute has less and less possibility of manifesting itself. This means that in world 3, the Absolute creates, as it were, a general plan of all the rest of the universe, which is then further developed mechanically. The will of the Absolute cannot manifest itself in subsequent worlds apart from this plan, and in manifesting itself in accordance with this plan, it takes the form of mechanical laws. This means that if the Absolute wanted to manifest its will, say in our world, in opposition to the mechanical laws in operation there, it would then have to destroy all the worlds intermediate between itself and our world. The idea of a miracle, in the sense of a violation of laws by the will, which made them, is not only contrary to common sense, but to the very idea of will itself. A miracle can only be a manifestation of laws which are unknown to men or rarely met with. A miracle is the manifestation in this world of the laws of another world. On the earth, we are far removed from the will of the Absolute. We are separated from it by 48 orders of mechanical laws. If we could free ourselves from one half of these laws, we would find ourselves subject to only 24 laws, that is, to the laws of the planetary world, and then we would be one stage nearer to the Absolute and its will. If we could then free ourselves from half of these laws, we would be subject to the laws of the sun's 12 laws, and consequently one stage nearer still to the Absolute. If again we could free ourselves from half of these laws, we would be subject to the laws of the starry world, and separated only by one stage from the immediate will of the Absolute. And the possibility for man thus gradually to free himself from mechanical laws exists. The study of the 48 orders of laws to which man is subject cannot be abstract like the study of astronomy. They can be studied only by observing them in oneself and getting free from them. In the beginning, a man must simply understand that he is quite needlessly subject to 1,000 petty but irksome laws which have been created for him by other people and by himself. When he attempts to get free from them, he will see that he cannot. Long and persistent attempts to gain freedom from them will convince him of his slavery. The laws to which man is subject can only be studied by struggling with them, or by trying to get free of them. But a great deal of knowledge is needed in order to become free from one law without creating for oneself another in its place. The orders of laws and their forms vary according to the point of view from which we consider the ray of creation. In our system, the end of the ray of creation, the growing end, so to speak, of the branch is the moon. The energy for the growth, that is, for the development of the moon and of its formation of new shoots, goes to the moon from the earth, where it is created by the joint action of the sun, of all other planets, of the solar system, and of the earth itself. This energy is collected and preserved in a huge accumulator situated on the earth's surface. This accumulator is organic life on earth. Organic life on earth feeds the moon. Everything living on the earth, people, animals, plants, is food for the moon. The moon is a huge living being feeding upon itself, feeding upon all the lives that grow on the earth. The moon could not exist without organic life on earth, any more than organic life on earth could exist without the moon. Moreover, in relation to organic life, the moon is a huge electromagnet. If the action of the electromagnet were suddenly to stop, organic life would crumble to nothing. The process of the growth and the warming of the moon is connected with life and death on the earth. everything living sets free at its death a certain amount of energy that has animated it. This energy, or the souls of every living thing, plants, animals, people, is attracted to the moon as though by a huge electromagnet, and brings to it the warmth and the life upon which it grows, upon which its growth depends. That is the growth of the ray of creation. In the economy of the universe, nothing is lost, and a certain energy, having finished its work on one plane, goes to another. And I'm going to pause here because I'm getting lost in this text. Maybe you can explain it to me. And maybe not. And maybe I should just jump over it and continue with the next chapter. Because this chapter, I don't know, it's not speaking to me. Is it speaking to you?